Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day or evening. Namaste. Om Mani Padme Hum, all the other good stuff. So, I wanted to do a little section separately why I've titled this show what I did. So, as you've gathered from watching this whole thing, if you've watched this whole thing, it really is that coming out? Moldavite. Moldavite. Um, it really is like a field theory study. You go around and learn all types of things that you can apply to yourself. There was so much I was lacking in my presence, if you want to say, and I'm holding this camera um, rather than on the cradle. Um, there was so much that I was lacking. Now, I began reading all kinds of materials, even from a really young age. Probably shouldn't have, and probably some of the things that I've read along the way to enlightenment, on my journey of enlightenment, that I'm really going through more so in the last like 12 years or so than before in my life. Before it was just, this is cool, I can relate, this is old, that's awesome. Or maybe even like on a heavy metal standpoint, because I grew up a metalhead. Shout out to Overkill. Um, I'm not representing Overkill. I'm not representing anything or anyone. Not a lodge. Not a Grand Lodge. Or not Masonry as a whole. But I chose to do the title, God Bless Freemasonry, because what I had come to as an adult is that Freemasonry and Dr. Wayne Dyer, along with a couple other pieces and people like Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton, um, and Jason Becker, have really influenced me. So, on my quest to be better than I was the day before, that's Masonic. So, I wanted a title that would kind of say thank you. You know, I'm proud of everything I'm learning along the way. I'm proud of being able to share things along the way. And like I said, when it comes to pieces of enlightened material, hey, is it Navijar? Namaste. Um, the pieces of material I've covered throughout my whole life, some are good and some are bad. Now that I want to be better than I was the day before, more so, namaste, yeah, more so than I was as a typical teenage metalhead guitar player growing up, and I grew up as a metalhead guitar player since the age of 10. I've been playing guitar. You grew up in upstate New York, New York period, you just have that wave with your middle finger in the air kind of an attitude towards the life that we all do when we're young punk kids. And be it the experiences I've had throughout life, I want more. Now, what I've gone through in 1989, flip back in some of the other videos and you'll see, really put me more into wanting to kind of, maybe wrong choice of words, but making quicker anyway, purify my connection with my Creator. My whole thing, and I've acknowledged so many times online before even doing this show, which is almost a year now, I would sit there so many times and just cry, wondering if God can hear me say thank you for bringing me back to life. Because as a young punk kid in that mindset, and in that moment especially, I didn't want to be brought back to life. And I'm grateful. Now, I've said Wayne Dyer and Masonry have, really helped me a lot to become a better person than I was the day before. And helped me find a sense of peace within me that I've always really had, but I just had a lot of problems and a lot of daily life, and a lot of crap builds up, and you just kind of forget of who you really are as a being. And I really want to know that God can hear me saying thank you for bringing me back. Where as an adult, I'm saying thank you, and as a child in that moment in '89, I was 12. I said no thank you, to say the least. I was really upset. So I couldn't really call this series something along, and I could have, but I didn't really want to call this like, you know, my life on the path of enlightenment. Take a trip with me and maybe you'll learn something too, dude, that can help you along the way. And if not, at least you'll learn some new stuff. That's a bit long for a title, don't you think? I couldn't really have it where I'm titling this show like thank you to, Wayne for helping me feel better. Thank you for, Masonry for helping me be better than I was the day before. I couldn't continue on from there and keep calling the show all of this stuff. What it really came down to is I wanted something sweet, short, and it covered everything. So I went with God Bless Freemasonry. Because every day I have my God Bless Freemasonry moments. Now, the show itself is the quantum mechanics of enlightenment and Freemasonry. And I pause each time I say and Freemasonry because I want it to be more than just this. Like I said, I'm not promoting my lodge, I'm not promoting a Grand Lodge, I'm not promoting craft, nothing, It's just my path to living a better life and being a better person than I was the day before. Now, with some of the stuff that I've read, maybe you haven't, read that yourself. Like, how many people do you know have read, the George Washington stuff? I don't know anyone personally outside of being a Mason. I don't know anyone that's read that. How many people do you know grew up as a teenager reading things, like I said, you probably shouldn't have? I mean, I've even read negative things like the Satanic Bible and the Necronomicon and all kinds of stuff, man. But it all shaped me into who I am and the path that I'm on, and I'm proud for that. I think I've turned out all right with a lot of the crap I've gone through, but I still wanted more. I wanted to know for sure that my connection to my Creator is pure, dude. And He knows I'm grateful. He, she, whatever you want to call it. You can call it God. I don't care. But having a title just simply as walk with me through enlightenment, let me read all this crap to you and you can help piece it together with me. Who's going to watch something like that? But being that I've become a Mason and I'm proud of Masonry and I do have God Bless Freemasonry moments every day, and I kept saying those words all the time, why not just call it God Bless Freemasonry? Now, the clothes that I wear, right now I'm wearing an Overkill shirt, dude. I've been a metalhead my whole life. I've been a guitar player for 30 years. But yet the title of this particular episode is under God Bless Freemasonry. That doesn't mean that I'm representing Masonry or overkill. The fact that I'm not sitting here in a suit, in front of a podium, I mean, that would be something more in line of reflecting representation of, or by, or on behalf of, and that's not what I'm doing. This is all about my journey in life. I've done a lot of things that a lot of people have never done. And yet, I want more in my life. I want more for my life. I want everything that's good and positive. I'm on my path to enlightenment. I'll get there one day. If anyone wants to say, oh, you're not enlightened yet, keep going. Oh, I am. And I hope you'll be a part of it with me. Now, in the quest daily of wanting to be a better person than I was the day before, thanking Masonry, I was going to say a bunch of men, thanking Masonry for all kinds of stuff, I think the title is just kind of sweet, and that's all. And I do kind of want to use a little bit of a platform like, hey, shout out to Masonry, I mean, you've helped me along the way. But it's all about me and my quest for more. And maybe if you're having same problems, issues, however you want to put it, maybe you're wanting more. Maybe you're wanting to let go of your superfluities in life, all the crap you go through with your growing up, and you just want to be a better person. Well, you cover all kinds of enlightened material looking for answers. And that's what I'd like to do. And that's what I've been doing. And I'm going to continue doing. Even if somebody, in a Grand Lodge sense says, hey, you need to change the title or something, no big deal, dude. I don't really want to change the title. I'll do it anyway if I have to. But I'm not breaking any violation. I'm not, or, you know what I mean? I'm not breaking my applications, dude, by reading stuff that's in English. Whether you like it or not, I'm not doing anything wrong. But I think covering things that are also, Masonic, not just like Lao Tzu or, the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, and things like that. Masonry has really helped me. And I know it's helped a lot of people. Whether we're all on a path to be better than we were the day before, or we're on a path to have one more piece in the puzzle for enlightenment to help us get to the Grand Lodge up in the sky before we die. I am very, very influenced by Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer, has allowed me a sense of inner peace that I never really had before. And I've always had peace, but not to that level. Masonry just kind of cements everything in a positive direction, not a negative one. So I'm pretty grateful and I'm proud, and I really wanted to use the title of. I do, like I've said in previous episodes, if you want to refer to them as episodes, mention that I would like to cover even some of the crap that I still have as a kid growing up. I mean, I even have like my Golden Dawn books and everything, I don't think I have a copy anymore of something like the Satanic Bible, but I know I still have even like, the Necronomicon and the spell book that went with it. Why would I be willing to read that out loud under this whole umbrella of a series? For the simple fact that I'm better than I was the day before, and I will always strive to be better than I was the day before. And if I can go back and read something that I may have been interested in or read lightly, however, as a teenager growing up and I still have it, how would that look to me today? What could I say if I were to sit down and read the Satanic Bible again? Being that I want to live a better life and a better quality of life and have better quality people in my life, and I want to improve my connection to my source, my creator, my God, my Dios. Amen, you know? What would I say about stuff that's negative? Years ago, when I was a kid growing up and I was reading that, I'm all like, yeah, you know? I read it to my grandmother, the actual Bible, Satanic Bible. And I took out all of the words Satan. And my grandmother was like, oh yeah, oh, I can see that, you know. I mean, she totally dug it. And then I remember showing her the cover of the book. Well, I don't think you should be reading that, you know, and it was just one of those experiences, and I don't think that's right. But yet, all along, she agreed with everything. I've always done this. I've always had moments growing up, even as a child, where I had spirits around me, doing things that maybe in my human eyes I wasn't really ready for, and now I wished I'd be seeing again. Some of the things. But along the way, I've had a rough experience living in this human shell. And I wanted all throughout my whole life to feel better about. I just had a crappy life, you know. My parents left when I was, or my mother left when I was a kid. My dad worked all the time, you know, all these little moments, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted happiness. I wanted to be happy like everyone else was. And then, like, I got into drinking and using drugs and everything, and that didn't end so well for me in 1989. And I was born in 77. I was 12. For years, I kept saying I was 11. My brain kind of shut off, apparently, in that last year. But I've always felt really guilty and really horrible for coming back to life. Then, as an adult, I'm proud and I'm grateful, and I just want to make up for being such a dumbass kid. And I can say a whole lot more negative things about myself, you know, than that. And you shouldn't. We shouldn't talk down about ourselves. What we need to realize is some of the things that we can read that have been throughout mankind, like the Tao and the Bhagavad Gita and the Bible and all these things. They try to enlighten you to understanding you're not just a human and crap happens, but that you're a spiritual being trapped in your shell for a minute. As a teenager, I always looked at it like I was imprisoned in the shell. And that when I died, everything was like I became awake for the first time while over there, so to speak. And that this life in this shell that I'm imprisoned in was a huge nightmare. Being human versus, you know, after Casper, I went the whole thing with fleshy versus non-fleshy, you know? But it doesn't do anything to make you feel better about things. It doesn't do anything to help you grow as a person and be better than you were the day before. I mean, how many times can you sit there and read the Bible and you're like, yeah, this is great, dude, but what does this have to do with me? How am I going to translate this into my life? What can I take from it? What can you get out of it? But yet, when it comes to Masonry, I got more of those things. And with Wayne Dyer, I got more of those things. I always struggled with a lot of issues. You know, like I grew up a really hurt kid, and I just wanted answers. I kept seeing little spirit moments around me. And it was probably like little clues as to how I would grow up and become. But you don't look at it that way. And as a teenager, if you are reading these sorts of materials and you're a metalhead guitar player, you end up going with some of the darker stuff. Because that's what is on all the records that I listen to. Like, I'm a huge fan of Morbid Angel, dude. Morbid Angel is not out there like Striper throwing Bibles at everyone in the audience, you know? I wished I could have gotten one of those because I was a metalhead and I was a guitar player, and I probably would have looked at the Bible a little differently than I do now. Then I'm like, dude, this is just a fiction novel, you know? I didn't realize as an adult you can look at it like, well, let's say it is a fiction novel. What are you gaining out of it? What can you gain out of any book? And maybe I would have looked at it and asked those questions. What am I getting out of it? I never did. I always felt disgusted. There wasn't enough. There wasn't more accuracy. And it was fun reading some of the darker materials that I have, where now as an adult I'm like, why would I have even done that? What teenager grows up reading that crap, dude? Or any crap, whether it be for positive or negative. Like, I could say the Bhagavad Gita is crap, you know, and it's not. None of that is. But what I mean is, like, dude, what kids are reading that crap? Give me a break. They're all sitting down playing video games, and, you know, I grew up in a bar and I had video games, but that's not what I wanted. And that's not what I want now. What I want is just merely purifying my connection with my creator and my source. I want to keep going over even all of the crappy materials that I would say are crappy, like the Satanic Bible and everything that I enjoyed as a teenager. How would I say now, today? I wouldn't say it was great. I would say that a lot of things might be, you know, a little too real for people. Like, I remember in the 9 Satanic Statements, and this is completely off the top of my head from when I was a teenager, and I'm 40 this year. I'll be 41 in May. But as a teenager, I remember in the 9 Satanic Statements, one of the things was that Satan, and I've taken that word out to talk to people and tell people what that is, but has been the best friend the church has ever known, for it's kept it in business all these years. And I'm like, yeah. Like, even today, I would still be like, if you take that word out, because there's a lot of issues with that one word, you take that word out and you're like, well, yeah. And if you put the word back in, you'd be like, well, yeah, I guess Satan is the best friend the church has ever known, for it's kept it in business all of these years. I mean, if it wasn't for that, you know, where would the church be right now? Because the church that we know and have come to know, outside of all their little molestation cases, has tried to use fear more so than enlightenment. And to me, that's wrong. What they should have been doing was, you know, acknowledging things. Having some dude, like, say if I'm the Pope, we've never had a Pope that actually came out and said, hey, look, dude, I mean, some of this stuff is a bit far-fetched. You gotta understand, thousands of years ago, they didn't know what to call a UFO, you know, things like that. Nobody's actually taking the time to take this information, which my coach, when it comes to the Tao, thought it was just complete poetry. He didn't realize until I started talking to him about the essays that I've done on Tao for each verse, that this is meant to be something for enlightenment. He couldn't really grasp what they were saying because it was still in poetry form for him. And I'm like, no, that's not it. Let me explain this. And I'd break it all down and we'd sit and talk, and I love it. There's nobody that's really out there doing that. There's nobody that's really out there saying, hey man, I grew up reading garbage, like the Satanic Bible and the Necronomicon and everything, and while some people might be like, that's not garbage, you know what I mean? That's not positive. To me, that's garbage. Being that I want to live better than I was the day before. I want to live a positive direction in life and not a negative direction. I would say those things are garbage. But at some point, I'm probably going to offend even more people by reading something like some of the things that I've said. Like, I have right with me now some of the negative books just because I had found them at my grandmother's, where I grew up, and they were still there. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder how I would, think about these things today. But in the end, they're all little pieces of a puzzle for enlightenment. And they're all like a little fable. Even the Bible you can include in all the positive books, the Gita and Tao and everything. They're all like little pieces of puzzle that you can put together on your path to enlightenment. But I'm not out there as a teenager like, I'm an adult now, even though I'm still a metalhead and I still play guitar. I can reread these things as an adult. I wanted to join Freemasonry for about 4 to 5 years now, but still haven't knocked on the door. Okay. So, just to pause for a moment and say something to you personally on that. Freemasonry has been one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me as an adult. I wasn't ready mentally all those years ago that I wished I'd come to Freemasonry when I was 18 or something. I only came to Masonry like 4 years ago this year. So I'm still new. There is no face of Freemasonry, and I'm not out there trying to represent anything or a lodge or, Masonry itself. But what I have found for me on my quest for trying to be better than I was the day before, that's Masonry. There are a lot of, and I've said before, like religious overtones or undertones, however you want to put it. A lot of things that are in the Bible are, in Masonry. So you would have to be open to allowing yourself to read something that is in the Bible and not be all like, whatever, dude. I mean, we're just sitting down reading a bunch of garbage out of a Bible. Give me a break. I could have went to church for that. But it is mostly about charity. And to me, as an adult, I really want to do more for my community. So if you really want to do more for your community, not just yourself, if you want to give back, then chances are you might want to go and knock on that door. What I've said in the videos before on how to go about things is to call up a lodge, your local lodge, find out where your nearest lodge is. Unfortunately, they're not on every spot on the planet. We should. But, find out when the next stated meeting is. Let them know you want to come down, just be our guest and have dinner. And, enjoy dinner with us. Meet with them. You may, if you have a smaller community than like LA or something, you might know some of the people already that you didn't know were Masons. It's about brotherhood and bonds and having a better quality of people in your life that you can count on to be there in your life. Because when you're growing up and you have your best friends from childhood, how many best friends from your childhood are still your best friends as an adult? Probably 1, 2, not even 10. And we all grew up in teenager mindset that we've got millions of friends kind of thing, and they're going to be there the rest of our life. And no, they're really not. So if you're looking to do something to help with your community and outwards, like help with the whole of mankind, and it's not about you, it's about helping other people. And you also want to have a better quality of friends in your circle. Definitely take the moment, write down any questions that you might have. Watch this show, watch everything, even all the slams, because those are kind of important too. Like with negativity that I've read as a teenager, it's still pretty important when it comes to the little puzzles, pieces, putting it all together. So even with a lot of the slam videos, you'll see it's garbage, but still take a minute to watch. Some of them are hilarious. Now, I've had some people think that I've come to Masonry because of National Treasure. No, not at all. I don't care about anything that I have, seen and as far as a movie. And I did watch it, National Treasure. I love that movie. I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't the greatest movie I've ever seen, you know. But I mean, like, it was cool. I get it. I understand that there was a big jump in people becoming Freemasons because of that movie, which I would imagine there'd be a decline now because people are finding out it's not about a movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. Like, even in the movie The Skulls, if you've ever seen that movie, I really like that one too. um, I mean, you're not out there going like, okay, now I'm a Mason. Bam, your whole life changes. They put a Rolex on you and you get a new car and there you go. Yeah, that's a really good one. But it feeds into the whole stereotype that, your life is going to change. Your life does change, really, but it's not like that. You're not getting a Rolex, you're not getting a car, I mean, you don't get a jump in social status, those are all like misconceptions. It's about helping people, not yourself. It's about being better than you were the day before, and it's about spreading the cement of brotherly love, relief, and truth under faith, hope, and charity. That's what it's really about. And having some friends along the way that are supposed to be like minded men. They come from all different walks of life, including color and race. I mean, like, it's race to me is one thing that's the human race. But there's a lot of different backgrounds. So maybe if you do, not saying you do, but if you have any prejudices, maybe work on that first before you go knock on the door. Because you might have a brother next to you that you don't particularly care for being around. Examples, we'll just say there's Asian, there's Latino, there's white people, there's black people, everything. But it's all about helping the community and outwards. In the end, it's about letting go of all your teenage mindset and growing up a bit and becoming more of an adult, conducting yourself accordingly, and just growing into the kind of person that your family and your parents would be proud that you're growing up into, rather than that punk little kid that you used to be. So if that's, something you're down for, knock on the door. Write down all your questions you have, even after watching a bunch of crap online. Even with my show, just watch a whole bunch of it and see if it resonates with you. Um, if it does, go. Look it up. Find out where your local lodge is. Find out when they do a stated meeting. and be our guest for dinner. A stated meeting is where you're able to come in and sit down and have dinner with us. And you can meet with them, ask them all kinds of questions, and it really is worth doing. Even if you don't intend on becoming a Mason, just getting a feel of what they're really like as people is pretty rewarding, and you'll walk out of there thinking, like, I had a good time tonight. Hopefully, along the way, you can learn something too if you write down questions. But come at them with the respect of forming them in questions versus slam. Because, I mean, like, I love them, you know. But anything else, let me know. So I want to say, I could have, like I said, titled this All Along with something different. But Masonry really means a lot to me. And there's not really anything out there where someone's like, hey dude, look, I'm just going to take all the materials I've known of and collected and put them all together. We'll read it out loud and go from there. Hopefully along the way in watching this has been just about a year now. In May 14th, the day after my birthday, will be a year that I've been doing this. Hopefully I'll be able to look back on it, not just you, but hopefully I'll be able to look back on it and see that I'm growing more and I'm becoming better than I was a year ago, let alone yesterday, I want to be more like my Wayne. I want to be a better example of a human being. I want to know more in way of enlightened material. And I'd like to, on this mindset as an adult, go back and read some of the other trashy materials and put my opinions in now as an adult wanting to live a better life. It's kind of like if you were to have the Pope read the Satanic Bible when he was a kid, he was all about it, but now as an adult, he can go back and read it and be like, look, dude, some of this kind of, you're right, but at the same time, I don't really know of anybody that's covering this sort of angle with enlightenment and pieces that are throughout mankind. Like, I know that the Tao Te Ching, and I've had a few issues with some of the different verses. That's it, just because I've been an actor all these years, and how it would go and relate to me, and I get it, but at the same time, I can't really go to him and be like, look, dude. So if I read things and other people watch it, and I do video after video rather than a year's long worth of video, I can narrow down comments to specific things and go back and grow from them later on. Okay, you're talking about this. Well, I covered that like a year ago, but yet putting the comments in the comments field, I know what you're talking about. I know what videos you're talking about. And I want to use this more for myself than for the benefit of other people, because other people will benefit from reading things or hearing things that they wouldn't have done otherwise. A lot of the people I personally know in my lifetime, they don't really care about this kind of stuff. Nobody really cares because they have a lot of their own lives going on, and nobody has time to be sitting down and reading a piece of enlightenment, that was written thousands of years ago. Give me a break. They'll pick up their phone and they'll play on the internet. Well, what if I do it for you? What if I sit down and you walk through my journey with me? Maybe you can help me along the way when it comes to things that I have issues with, like in a verse of, the Tao Te Ching. I can be like, well, I don't really know how this applies to me. Example is, I'm not supposed to be proud of the things that I've acquired. I'm not supposed to be proud of the work that I've done. At the end of the day, I'm supposed to just let it go. No, dude. As an actor and all the things that I've done, I'm proud of that. And I should be. And I don't care if anybody thinks I shouldn't be. So, I could have called it anything. But being that Masonry, along with Wayne Dyer and a few other people, right? Jason Becker, you know, they've all really helped me grow up. Versus being a teenager, we all thought we were grown up as a teenager, and we're not. But in the last few years, I'm going through a lot of personal changes, and I want them to be for the best. My life is changing in the last year alone, but I still want for the best. And I still want to be better than I was the day before and let go of all my childlike mentality crap, you know, and like, I don't have anger in me. Like, I don't hate things, I don't hate people. Excuse me. Um, and I do have peace within me. And I prefer peace all around me. But I still like going to metal shows. I'm still a guitar player and I still want to crank my guitar and amp, you know? How can this work for me in my future? How can I document some of the things that I'm going through, and how can I document some of the things that I'm reading to where I can go back 20 years from now and see how much I've grown from that? What if I don't have those materials and I do now? So it's really to help me, and hopefully I can help others along the way that maybe really don't care about enlightenment. Maybe someone that I know, and I know a lot, really don't care about reading a book that was written like 7,000 years ago. People don't care about translating Sanskrit like I do. I really want to be the best that I can be and help, you know, translate a lot of the materials that have yet to be translated. My life is my own. I'm going to do as I please. Is 40 this year, you know, and I'm going to be 41 in May, right? The year's over. 40 last year. I'm only beginning in life. Being 40 is like, you know, you're a kid still, right? As far as how old you'll end up being, hopefully, knock on wood. But I don't think I could have titled it anything else. Because it would be way too long if I put in everything. Like the quantum mechanics of enlightenment and Freemasonry, you know. That's long. That's not a title for a show. That's about a show, you know. So I think God Bless Freemasonry was just the right title. It felt right. I took about a year or more putting together ideas with my coach and everyone, you know, about this and how I would go about it and everything. And the more I kept using God Bless Freemasonry, the more it just seemed to fit with what I wanted to do. I could be wrong. But I do want to acknowledge, you know, yet again, because I have to apparently over and over and over. I'm going back to LA and I'll be there in, you know, a couple weeks. I haven't been home in 3 months. So I'm going to go back home and I'll take care of paying my dues for this year. So I am a little late in paying my dues. I'd like to do it in person, not online. Now also, what else can I say, dude? I'm putting a lot of things out there that other people have put out all over the place. But I think with the way that I have dressed in one particular episode that people didn't watch, but I've had 2 people just freak out as though they watched it and they didn't, and prove to me they didn't, just based it's judging a book by its cover without reading the pages, and you're complaining to the author about the content. You can't. But being a Mason, wanting to be better than I was the day before, or the year before, or a lifetime ago, I'm going to handle it better. I want to do this better. I took out a couple of swear words in response because that's dumb. That's childish. And I don't want to be like that anymore. So, the title is God Bless Freemasonry. I'm not representing my lodge. I'm not representing Grand Lodge. I'm not representing Masonry as a whole. I'm covering all kinds of other things that I've learned and throughout the way in my life, and I've collected, and I'll revisit just to give my perspective now on and tell you how I thought of it when I was growing up versus how I really feel about it now. Because I don't think there's anything like that out there. And I wished I had seen a show like this while I was growing up. Because I was one of those kids growing up that wanted more. And that wanted to communicate with a moment that I can't. In 1989, like, I can't go back to that moment and be like, excuse me, God, can you answer a couple questions? You have to find that out for yourself. So I hope a lot of people watch this whole show, man. All the episodes, however many I do. I feel like I've barely just begun. I feel like my life is just begun. I've said in the recent one where my life feels like it's begun now that I've been a Mason. In the last 2 years of becoming a Master Mason, I feel like my life is really beginning. It's my Masonic journey. And in my Masonic journey, I'm learning a lot that really has helped. I've been an entertainer now for 12 years. You don't really have the greatest experiences, of Hollywood if you're not some random freak moment that never happens. That Gabourey Cinnabon girl, like, she didn't work her way through Hollywood for, all those years to then have fame for her. It was poof. She just fell and landed into a movie, and then it came out and she's famous. You know what I mean? She's now in SAG and everything. And I'm like, no, I bust my butt for that. But I've had a lot of experiences over the years, and I wanted more. I still want more. I want to do all kinds of things in life. I want to have all kinds of things. Right now, I want to have my own home. Because I'm staying with my cousin for, another, week or so. A few days, anyway. And it'll take me about a week to get home. So I should be home in, 2 weeks or something, right? Gotta find another place to live. No big deal. But everything that I've experienced along the way in my life shapes you into being a better person. Everything that I've gone through has also been viewed by people that I grew up with. I grew up in a small town in upstate New York, and everything that I've done, especially in my adult life in Hollywood, is all viewed by people that I grew up with. I also grew up with a lot of people, right down to my family members, who would take and learn little pieces about me, and then that's enough. They knew enough to answer any questions that someone else might have. And I'm like, you don't even know me, do you? So this is also about trying to let people know, even those in my own family that really don't know me, come to know what type of being I am. That I've always been, but now I have a little more ability to present it. Maybe they'll watch it. So if my family members and my friends that I grew up with alone, if they're the only ones that are watching, I'll feel good knowing that they can finally come to know who I am as a person and that I've always been as a person, but they stopped learning. That has nothing to do with masonry. Has nothing to do with metal, playing guitar. I am more than being an entertainer. I'm more than some dumb punk kid out of New York. I want more. On the one hand, you're not supposed to want things. I've heard that throughout some of the different, religious pieces that I've read. You're not supposed to want for things. Desires are supposed to be a bad thing. Don't you think it'd be really nice if we could go back to the person that first started saying those things and just slap them around a little? How dare you tell someone that's a human being that you should feel guilty for being born because you're born of sin? How dare you for trying to make people feel like, the only way you're going to be something is by changing who you are and changing your beliefs and your appearance and everything else. Like you're just not good enough if you're being yourself. You have to be something else. How dare you, to whoever started the whole thing back hundreds of years ago, of the separation of man and God. We all along, as a human race, a species, we should have been acknowledging things truthfully, openly, on a one-on-one kind of moment. And whoever said something to the effect, however it came out in that moment, of there's a difference between man and God and you suck and you're going to burn in hell. That's stupid. I mean, like, you can read the Bible, and most people can't even comprehend what they're reading, and they're carrying around signs in a Bible for, and they want to argue with you about and cause problems for you throughout your day. They can't even comprehend the simple phrase of "I am that I am." It's like your reading comprehension level is what, second grade? That's not my problem, that's yours. You want to talk about what it's really all about, and you're still going to have a problem with me? Well, maybe you should be reading that thing all over again. And people don't like my attitude with it. I've gotten in quite a few tiffs with Bible thumpers, especially out in LA, because out in LA it's warm and they can stand outside with signs and Bibles and they ask, "What's your name?" And honey, I know what you're getting at. So I'm all like, "I am that I am." And they'd freak out on me. "No, that's God's name. That's not your name. What's your name?" Did you not comprehend the crap that you just read out of that book and you're now thumping all over this town? We are all a bit of an extension of a piece of that presence is within all of us. Anything that's living. I've had arguments where people are like, "So you're telling me that plant right there that's alive is God?" No. What I'm telling you is that plant is alive and that there is a piece of the God source creation in it. That one that we refer to as God is in it. Just like it is within you and I. Now, I'm not telling my blood to start pumping through my body, and I'm not telling my hands, you need to start flexing like this. I'm not the control center in my brain. That's all done by a higher power. Thoughts are given to us to be manifested. Thoughts are not entirely our own. But you have a lot of dumb people. And I've met a lot of dumber people. Nobody really wants to get to know someone fully as a person before they can start saying, no, he doesn't like that. Or he's not like that. When you could just be like, hey, dude, are you serious? Like, you don't think I'm like that? Come over here and I'll show you just how much you think versus what's real. Even my own brother has a lot of misconceptions about me as a human being. That's sad, man. Because I'm trying to be better than I am the day before. I'm trying to die while I'm still alive. Being free from all of the things that you're enforced into your head growing up. You know, I'm trying to let go of all my childlike issues that I've had. My first birthday party, my second birthday party when I was 21 years old, you know what I mean? Like, all kinds of little moments, you know. I'm getting over all those things. I'm not angry or bitter about those things. And it's because I would sit and read these sorts of materials. And I've grown a lot from them. And I've grown a lot from, you know, meeting Wayne and really getting to know his stuff. I think we should say, like, Wayne Dyer is a religion. You know, let's make him a religion. And I would worship Wayne Dyer. You know. So I just wanted to go off on a little bit of a rant, tangent, let people know why I've even bothered to call this show God Bless Freemasonry, when it's the quantum mechanics of enlightenment and Freemasonry. You take little pieces of enlightened material and you piece it all together, and you'll grow from it. And I just want to grow while I'm still alive. I want to be better. I don't want to be a dumb punk kid anymore. Even though now I'm 40 and, you know, like, you get what I'm saying. But don't think that I'm representing anything or anyone. I do wash my hair. I do also use a lot of coconut oil in my hair. And this is not a trailer. You can call me white trash all you want, and this person not here, but, you know, 2 people on LinkedIn are freaking out like they're ignorant little children that need to be spanked kind of an attitude towards me. And they feel it's best to make slams even on other people's posts toward me, about me, to me. When it's like, really, dude, you could have directed all of this to me. Now exposing my name, my real name, because Chad Everhart's my stage name. And what lodge I go to, like, what? I don't care. I mean, like, I've had both of these people say to me, like, you know, how would I know that? You made a phone call to Grand Lodge. Big deal, man. Like, congratulations. I could have given you the phone number. If you would have liked to have, you know, pointed out my real name and what lodge I go to and everything, like, dude, I could have shown you in video form where I've already done that for you. And by the way, I've actually gone as far as not only reading out my member number and everything, and showing my diploma and everything else that I've gotten, right? I've gone as far as, like, putting my phone number out on the internet. I don't care. I mean, like, how would you have known my real name and what lodge I go to? Maybe, just maybe, you started watching something that I've done because I've given all the information myself. But as far as answering a question, like, well, how would I know that? Well, I don't give a damn how you know that. Because those two little weak minds mean nothing to me. Slamming me, I learned as an entertainer there's no such thing as bad press. It's all press and it's all for the best. Run it up. Say whatever you'd like. I don't care. Just say something. My life is more than garbage like that. I've got more important things to fulfill my time with than ignorant minds. And I'd like to sit down and read a whole bunch of the stuff that I'm learning that I have yet to read. I'd like to read stuff that I have read, even as a kid. What kid do you know sits down and starts collecting books on the Golden Dawn? I did. Like, I was a kid, man. Because that's what I liked. I like it even more now. That sorts of reading material versus let me just flip through pages and look at pictures. I like to read. I like to educate myself. But I like enlightenment material instead of just garbage. I think the internet is filled with a little too much garbage, and anymore, not enough education. Now, all over YouTube, where I'm putting this, you can sit like 24 hours a day and learn really quality material. At the same time, nobody wants to learn anything. So if I'm like doing this video one on one and somebody's watching it, maybe they can learn something. Maybe they can like help me along my way and have me learn something. But maybe, even just maybe, maybe I can get some of my family members and the friends that I grew up with to stop thinking they know who I am and actually learn who it is. Maybe I can help people like my parents become better people. I really don't think that's going to happen. But I would have to do it in video form for my father because he doesn't know how to read. My mother is too much of a B word who likes to sugarcoat life and lie to the people that were there. I don't think she would ever learn something even if she sat down and watched it because she sure wouldn't read it. But people have this thing where when they read something, they translate it totally differently. And yet, if you're watching something, you can rewind the tape, just push play. You know what I mean? Like, you can totally rewind and hear it over and over and over again. And if there's multiple videos, you can, and each thing is broken down, you can leave comments in that section and be like, hey, dude, what were you just talking about? Like, what were you thinking? And dude, I'll answer. But I really want to see this show come to years down the road, however long it takes, to, like, finish. And then look back and see how much I've been able to grow just in the time I've been doing this show. And the time I've started this show, I lost everything. Right down to being homeless, living on the streets of LA. Big deal. How am I going to move forward in life? Well, for all my family that's 3,000 miles away and all my friends that are 3,000 miles away, we don't get to talk on the phone. But I can do a video and kind of catch up. So there's so many reasons why I want to do this show and continue in doing this show. But there's really only a few things that I can say as to why I entitled it this way. Because, like I've said in the beginning of this particular thing, you just can't have a title of a show be a mile long. I mean, you can't have a paragraph as your title. And I can't say that I want to have a show being all like, well, and have all these different names. It needs to be one sweet little title that would sum up all kinds of things that you've learned, blah, 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 and that just kept coming down to God bless Freemasonry. I found myself more and more every damn day. God bless Freemasonry, man. So I ran with it. And put, separately, the quantum mechanics of enlightenment and Freemasonry. This is my journey. Walk with me down this journey and help me to grow as a better person. How many entertainers in Hollywood are doing that? I'm not trying to do something to stand out. I don't care. I don't care if any of this crap ever gets watched by anyone, but I'll watch it. I just had a year anniversary for the video I did for Loverboy. Right before I lost everything. Thanks. Thank you. Right before my whole world just came kind of crashing down, I saw that it was awesome. The Loverboy video, Stop the Rain. But a month later, my relationship was over. Yeah. Sweet. I love Loverboy. Love. I've always been a huge fan of Loverboy, man. But a month later, I was getting really bitter looking at that video. Like, God, I mean, that is just a horrible omen. You know? I mean, like, could you have warned me in a nicer way that my life was about to fall apart? And the only thing that I lost was being in a relationship, and I didn't own the place. So learn from that. If you're going to have a relationship with someone, have some sense of backup. Because 11 years of I love you and I want to spend my life with you doesn't always turn out to be 29 years more. And I didn't have anything. So I've, just had this anniversary, and I've watched it again. It's been a few days plus a year, and I'm like, in the beginning of the year, a month later, I felt it was a horrible omen. And now that a year has gone by, I'm even more proud of doing that than I think I was before. I'm proud. I can learn from it. I can look back and see how much things have changed in my life that people don't know about. Like this was an example. I don't think I would have even begun doing this show had I not had the moment of my relationship failing after 11 years. And I had to leave. I started the show in May May 14th was the first episode, and I arrived in New York after my relationship ended, after like 4 days on a train or bus, and a bus that time. Um, I like ground travel anymore in my life. Used to love flying, but I prefer ground now. Um, so, I mean, like a couple months later, and I began doing this. So, I'm trying to pick myself up in life, dust myself off in life, go back to being a party of one versus a party of two. Because, you know, when you're in a relationship, especially after 11 years of I love you, I love you, I love you, kiss goodnight, kiss back, you know, when you get home from work and all of that crap, you are a we. You're not a me anymore. So I'm pretty grateful because in the end, I'm coming back to me, not a whole we. I let go of a lot of things about myself that I started picking up again within the last few years. Like, I grew up all about studying herbs, you know, medicinally, um, reading pieces of enlightenment, spending more time talking to my creator, whether it hears me or not, I don't care, man. But I've learned along the way it does. Going back to being a little more of myself. And this whole period that I'm going through in the last year alone, I'm going to grow. I'm going to be able to look back on this in 20 years and learn even more. But this is all about my journey as a human being, not representing a lodge or Grand Lodge or Masonry as a whole or enlightenment as a whole. I really want to do an interview with my cousin while I'm still here. My cousin is Muslim. He didn't grow up that way. But as an adult, he identifies with being a Muslim. You know, I can learn from that. I've learned a lot about being a Muslim and talking to him. But yet, when I look back on this 20 years from now, I'm sure he and I could both learn something just from the video that we do, right? So that's what it's all about. If I can help other people along the way, that's great, dude. But it's for me. And I don't want to do these videos in a private instruction because I don't feel like 4 years in Masonry is enough for me to be a teacher. But it is enough time that I've collected some materials and I'm like, look, man, there's way too much negative garbage on the internet and videos on YouTube and everything, and just slamming the, I was going to say other words, poop out of this fraternity, and they don't know anything about it. I want to help. So I don't want to repeat myself over and over and over again. When you are trying to explain things to someone that you're passionate about, you'll repeat yourself over and over again. I don't really want to do that. I'd rather watch what I've already said, you know? But this is kind of documenting my journey. It's also my Masonic journey that I'll carry throughout the rest of my life. I think we should all document our journeys in life. From growing up a punk kid to being an adult and caring about our communities. We could learn just by looking back at how we used to be, how we used to think, and all of that. My grandmother's 95 this year. I wanted to do a book with her, and I began writing a couple years ago. I still have yet to complete that whole thing. But she's been offended for a long time because my niece and nephew don't really care about how things were when she was little. Like, she just wants to tell the story of her life. Now, being that I grew up in upstate New York and I moved to LA and got into Hollywood, more people want to hear my story about growing up. So here I am. But I'm more than just someone that moved to LA. I'm more than just someone that became an actor. I'm more than the film projects I've done, or theater or commercial, whatever. I've been in other things. I've done a lot. I'm more than that, as we all are. But by documenting everything in this video format like this, it's not like, here was my birthday today, yay. If I'm titling everything under the same title when it comes to growing into a better person, then I'll watch those specifically later on down the road in life. Versus, here was a video I made of it raining in LA. You know? If it's something about enlightenment and growing and being a better person and everything, and it's all under the same folder, it's something I'm really going to want to watch. And it's something I wished I could have watched years ago. The only things I really had years ago growing up that I really enjoyed watching were the Munsters and Headbangers Ball and a couple movies. I didn't really care for TV. I hated TV and I hated movies, man. Except for those couple things and watching Notre Dame games. But I just wanted to go out and party with my friends. You want to sit in front of the TV? Go ahead and rot your brain. Screw that. I've got drugs to do. And that was my mentality growing up. See you later, man. Let me know how your movie turns out. And then I go and get into movies. My bad. Our journeys as a human being are really brief. And we're supposed to learn so much while we're here as a human being. I wished I could have documented everything all along the way of my life. I had only done one journal, and that was in '98. I think people that do journals and read them later on in life, I think it's really rewarding. So this video series, this is my journal. So, hey dude. As far as, yeah, I'm like, hey dude. My nails, I'll say it again, even though I've got a separate one before that. One of my best friends that I grew up with wanted to be a girl. Spent over 20 years in the military, and he killed himself. He was living in a tiny town, and he was so afraid to be himself, he had to hide his clothes and his heels under the floorboard in his apartment in hopes that no one would break into his house and find them. He was so afraid. Yeah, I love documentaries. I really do. And I'm one of those dumb ones. I love sitting down and watching more stuff on medical. Yeah. So, he had asked me for quite a while. No, I know what you meant. Totally. Um, he had asked me for quite a while, being that I've gotten some sense of a platform going on, if I could just do something to help make it easier for people like him, especially in little tiny areas in the Midwest, you know what I mean? Like, or wherever you are. Because I felt really bad. And I told him it would take me a long time to come up with a character name, like if I were to do something like RuPaul's Drag Race, you know what I mean? Dude, I'll run it up, man. Like, why not? Or like that whole like Wu Tang Fu movie or something with Patrick Swayze, you know? Like, I would turn it into an activist kind of moment, not just a booking, you know? And doing my nails and posting them all over the internet in pictures, like, dude, look how rad that is, you know? It helps kind of break down those little walls that ignorant, shallow minds have. And people like him really need it. So, yeah, I paint my nails. There's a lot of people that do. So, you're also, if you know anything about enlightenment before I go, we're also supposed to be able to make things disappear. Wayne Dyer had taught his daughter about how to make the freckle on her face disappear, and it did. We're supposed to be able to do that with our health, make our health manifest into being optimum or crap. Like if you just keep praying to die in your sleep, you're gonna die in your sleep. You know, I've got tumors in my foot, and I'm trying to get my doctor to lie with me too and be like, oh my god, that's getting so much smaller. Because I think that would be great and it would help my brain over time manifest the tumor to go away so I don't have to have the cord removed. Somewhere along the way, I've learned enough to know that that is possible, but I've yet to have it happen. So if there's other little pieces that I'm missing, I need to find them. And it's not just about making my life a little better as far as my foot or something, you know, but that will be one fine example for me and me alone of the type of being that a human really is and the capabilities that a human has. I've taught myself over and over and have mentioned many of the examples of how when you're determined, you get things done. So now that I'm turning this into like an hour and 24 minutes already, and I just thought I'd do just a quick video, no big deal, right? Um, I want to thank you for being there, taking the time, sitting with me, rocking out. You can't play any music in the background unless it were my own. I do actually want to go back home. I'm pretty excited to end up finding a new place to live. Thank you. Oh, really? Thank you. But I do, I'm excited about doing more videos, and they won't be under this title, but I'll post more anyway. I'm a guitar player for 30 years now. I'm nowhere near my hero, Jason Becker. Like, that dude. That's talent. or any of my other heroes. Like, I don't even feel like I'm to the level of Steve Clark, man. Or, and to me that's more power chord than neoclassical stuff. But I want to do more. I want to show more, guitar playing. I want to show more aspects of my life. I want to document doing more things in life. I don't need to. It's not really what trying to go about the path of enlightenment's all about. The God realized life. It's not about showing everything to everyone. But I know a lot of people, and I grew up with a lot of people, and they don't really care about these things. They don't really care about reading a book written 2,000 years ago. They don't even care about reading a book that was written by their favorite reality stars, It's like learning things people are just, nope, don't have time. And that's not the way I am. But I want to be able to grow from them. So I need them documented like it were a journal. And I can go back later on and see them and see things that no one else does. Like the Loverboy video. If you followed me throughout the whole time, for anyone else, right, you would know that a lot has happened since. But yet, when you see my next booking, be it a movie or whatever, and you don't know anything about my life or who I am or talk to me or watch videos or anything, you would see that I went from this to this to this to this, and that's it. But along the way, I've got a lot of friends and family that don't want to know who I am. And if they ever want to come to know who I am, I won't allow it in person anymore. I won't allow it. I won't allow them in my life anymore. But you're free to sit down and watch all my crap. Like, I don't want my mother in my life anymore. That sort of a thing. And I I would rather, if she ever feels like she does ever want to know me, here's a whole bunch of videos you can sit down and get to know who I am. And if you ever come to a point where you're like, wow, man, my son is awesome, maybe I'll have grown enough to tolerate you back into my life. But at this point, I haven't grown that much yet. Because I don't like people walking in and out of my life like it's nothing. I mean, like, my family has discarded me over and over in my life like I'm garbage. I don't mean anything. I'm okay with all of that now. But what I won't be okay with is people walking in and out of my life. Now that I'm an adult, now that I've turned 40 this last year, because I'll be 41 in May, I'm going back to holding a little more of my younger mentality of, you know what? And if you don't want to be involved in my life, you don't want to have anything to do with me, well, you won't, honey. I'm not going to be crying about it anymore. No, see, that's going in a negative direction, isn't it? That's not the direction I'm going in. My life is for the betterment of myself and my spirit, and getting closer to my creator. And screw what I do in life, man. Who cares how I look? I'm growing my hair back out. I gave myself bangs recently. Who cares, man? In the end, this world means nothing. But while we're here, we can have fun and enjoy things and learn. And these are the things that I'm about. I'm about positivity, peace, zenful moments. I don't have kids of my own. Being around my cousin's kids since I've been here, like, I love them so much, man. But it also is one of those where I can appreciate the contrast. I appreciate having moments where I don't have kids of my own running around screaming, you know? Just playing and having a good time. Like, oh God, like, you're hurting my ears. But yet along the way, I can do some of these videos here and you can hear them in the background. And whenever I have a moment later on down the road where I'm like, God, man, I wonder how they're doing, I can pop this up and listen in the background and hear them. I love animals. I've included showing the cat and the dog. I'm in love with a little kitty. I love their cat and I want to steal their cat. I want to take them home. Yeah. Life is rewarding. Life is a blessing. Life kicks, pause, ass. Life is outstanding, man. I've lost everything in the last year. I don't even have a home right now, dude. I'm staying with my cousin. It's not a trailer. It's a 2-story, 5-bedroom house. It's not mine now. It's his. Theirs. And I can still say that life is a blessing. Life is a reward. Life is a gift. Life is meant to be cherished and remembered. Life is a learning experience. Life is taken too seriously, and while at the same time, life isn't taken seriously enough. So, namaste, dude. I hope you're having a wonderful day, wonderful evening. I hope life gets, like, just a fraction, just a little tiny bit better than what you know it now. Sweet. If your life can get just a little bit better, I'm all about it. Hopefully along the way, if I say something and you've got questions, comments, or concerns, if you know more things than I do on a subject that I want to kind of bring up, help me learn to be a better person. Help me learn to walk a little more upright on the path of the God-given life, you know. Help me to grow. If you've got all kinds of materials, if you know of materials that I should be reading that are enlightened and I don't have them or I don't know about them, say something, because I would really appreciate it. And this goes for you or anybody watching this that watches it 20 years from now. Hey, dude, you never covered this book. I'd like you to read it, check it out. I'm all about it, dude. And if it along the way gets me closer and closer and keeping my connection pure, then it's worked. So I'll close out in just a moment and say goodnight. Because it's what, 12:30 now here in New York. Um, there are no coincidences in life. Everything happens for a reason. You can look back on moments and see where even your conversations, even to yourself, or little thoughts that you've had, will manifest into a life before you. So, if you're having questions about coming to Freemasonry and you've yet to knock on the door, ask yourself why you want to become a Freemason and why you haven't knocked on the door. Ask yourself any questions that you might be able to. Take some time to write them all down. Because what if you've got to go tomorrow night and you come up with a question later on? You know what I mean? Like, just write everything down. Walk in there, sit down for dinner, and I encourage you and everyone that could ever watch that's not a Mason or has thoughts of becoming, just go in there, dude. Check it out. Don't believe all the crap and drama and negativity that's around it. Some people are just dicks and they're trying to do it for views. And this video probably won't get monetized now. I swear. But really, some people are just like that. So, even if you end up being one of them, and I don't know it yet, take all the negativity, put it in the form of a question. Because I've had a lot of people come at me personally, and they're like, don't you see I was just trying to ask you a question? It's like, well, no. But don't you see that you didn't even ask one? And it was a whole day's worth of drama and crap for no reason. So anything you can think of to ask, write it all down, take it to the lodge that's near you, sit down with these people, have some dinner, and just hang out for a little bit. Get your questions answered, and then go from there. And if you do end up knocking on our doors, and I hope you do, really, but if you do, keep me posted. You don't need to tell me where you're out of. You don't need to tell me anything at all like that, or what country it's in, or whatever. But if you do end up becoming a Freemason, just let me know. Because it's something I'm proud of. And right now you're saying you've yet to, so let me know. You're in Canada, in Toronto. Yeah. I know of a few out of Toronto. I know some even to the east in Nova Scotia. They're amazing people. Just the ones in Toronto and, well, even over in Nova Scotia, dude. I'm just gonna say Canada in general. Cover the whole big thing. The ones I know out of Canada, Canada, eh? Dude, I love them. I love these people. I think they're so awesome. We come from all walks of life, but eh. Canada. The Masons that I've met that are Canadian, and some of the lodges that have followed me from Canada. On top of everywhere else, man, like, they're just great. It's great. But really, like, Canada rocks, man. So, for whatever reasons you've got that you just haven't gone and knocked on the door, dress nice. Yeah. Don't show up in an overkill shirt, even though I would be all about it. You know, yeah. But dress really nice, dude. And when you walk in there, be prepared to meet some of the greatest people you've ever met in your entire life. And I know from talking to a lot of people and lodges and everything out of Canada, you're missing out. Like, you're seriously missing out, dude. So Google when we get done here, and keep me posted all along the way, dude, because I'm all about it. But Google, find out where the nearest lodge is to you, and then rest on it, because it's nighttime. And then begin with writing questions, and then call them up and let them know you want to go down to a stated meeting and come sit down and have dinner with them. All the ones I've ever met out of Canada are some of the best people I've known. I'd like to have in my life for the rest of my life. And I'm pretty sure along the way, being that they would turn out to be, if you became, you know, they would be your brothers, I think that you'd be really proud and pretty grateful and kicking yourself for not doing it sooner. But yet you'll be able to look back and realize, well, I guess I wasn't ready. And that there are no coincidences. So, being that you're here watching this video, yeah, dude, sounds to me like you're about ready to knock on some wood. Sounds like you're gearing up for it. And that makes me pretty proud. So I'll cut it off here. Thank you for taking the time with me. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to getting to know you along the way. And maybe, if I'm lucky, you'll get to know me as well. So, before you go to bed tonight, or if you have a few moments alone and you're like working a night job or something, it doesn't matter, right? Take a couple minutes to do something that makes you happy. Whether it's listening to one song or an album, I'm just home doing nothing. Rock out, dude. Realize what you want out of life and that you're worth having it. Because you are. So, cough. We'll see you later, dude. Yo, you don't want to cough? No, I know you know. Rock on, dude. Enjoy. And keep me posted along the way. Good night, dude. Navajar? Purple. Purple means a lot to me. I've mentioned a couple things. I'll tell you more over time. Peace, dude. Later. Feel free to subscribe. pass the videos around to your friends. But whatever you do, take 5 minutes to enjoy your day. That's all. Just 5 minutes. Do something to rock out and have a good time. Because chances are your life sucks. Or even in a moment of boredom, you're like, I don't know what to do, whatever. Instead of doing something you don't want to do something you do want to do. But definitely take time to realize and be grateful for all the things that you've got in your life. All the things that you want out of life and to achieve during your life. Write them down on a list and start kicking ass. Later, boys.